This is Karen with NewClevelandRadio.net, and it is time for KYaks with Ken Ludmer. And Ken, did I say it right?
One of these days you're going to get
Oh my God,
you're going to get it right.
I can't pronounce anybody's name lately.
Just think like when I was in kindergarten, Ludmer, they used to call me Mudmer. So
Oh, well.
Mud, you know.
Okay, well, we're going to just yak with Ken today. How do you like
it? How's that?
And I had asked Ken ahead of time to think about talking about anxiety because I personally have been dealing with it for a while, but especially now with COVID rearing its ugly head once again, and the election coming up, and all the craziness that seems to go with an election year, whether it would be this year or any other year. And last night on another podcast, without therapy being part of it, we just talked normally about what it means for each of us to feel anxiety. And I was reading somewhere that being anxious can be a good thing. But the way I'm feeling right now surely doesn't feel good. So can you explain to me how anxiety can be good?
Well, it depends on, anxiety is a internal feeling. It's energy. It's actually blocked energy. It transmits along the nervous system. And the more of it that you have, the worse it gets, right? Until you can get all the way up to panic. And when you get to panic, then it's affecting all the other systems. Now you're having trouble breathing. Now you're hyperventilating, or you're sweating. So it's really it's a body on overdrive. So let's take it back to its most normal lowest form. It's just the word anticipation. When you anticipate something, you are already getting some energy going about what it is. Now, it could just be as simple as you have to, walk up and shake somebody's hand. You don't have to say anything, but you just have to shake somebody's hand. And it brings out internal feelings that for therapists are located in your child.
Okay.
All kids are nervous. All kids are anxious. All kids are afraid. Some are even afraid to look at adults. You see little kids, they can talk to their mother and father, but when an adult comes, they freeze. They see little kids, they're okay, but so it's like inborn, right?
Right.
It has to do with lack of familiarity, strangeness, first time you're doing something. So it depends on how you were coached, how you were prepared, and how you were either rewarded or taught or punished based on how you react. You started to form a pattern.
Okay.
Form a pattern. Now, that's either a positive pattern where you have learned to overcome anxiety. You learned you don't have to be afraid of your bike. Initially, you were afraid of your bike. You were going to kill yourself on it. Now you can control the bike and you can control the feeling. Same thing when you learned how to swim. You were going to drown and you couldn't get the clutch grip off your parent, right?
Yep.
And then eventually you learn to overcome that. And so life is a series of learning lessons and how you cope with new things that bring on this internal energy feeling. Okay?
Okay.
So the good thing is that it brings with it sometimes some adrenaline. And adrenaline is clarifying. You get very focused when you have. If you're in the upper level of that is the fight-flight response. You're confronted by someone with a gun. Now you either freeze and beg for your life and lay down, or you take off and you run a million miles an hour because before you know it, boom, you're gone. Right? And the fight-flight is I'm not gonna fight this guy. I don't have a gun, so I'm out of here. And boom, your body has all kinds of energy. You're running at atomic speed now because your body is
Got it.
going. All that's anxiety. All that's anxiety. You're going to take your test. You studied forever. You think you know it. Comes 20 minutes before the test, your mind goes blank. That's anxiety. So to say that anxiety is good, it's good only when you are in control of it. It's only good when you ask any actor, ask any stage performer how they feel in the wings just before they go on. There's that initial, and everybody does the big, deep breath. No wonder, because that's a calming sensation for the entire body. Everybody tells you when you're having an anxiety attack, take quiet, big, deep, long breaths. All of a sudden, you feel like you're back in control. So here's the issue. When people feel they're out of control, they're in situations where they're out of control. You mentioned a bridge.
Right.
You mentioned heights. Some people are panicked about an airplane. And it's all about, if you think about it, it's trust. Do I trust this bridge is going to make it for the 2 minutes that I'm going to be on it? It's been up for 75 years. Nobody has ever fell off the bridge in a car. But I think now's the day it's going to happen. I'm going to get halfway on this thing and the bridge is going to collapse. Okay? So if you look at your odds and you get objective and someone pulls you out of your situation and you get in an airplane and now you get a look at the bridge from an airplane, you see all these cars and you can't even pick out your car as you see in the thing. You say to yourself, that looks pretty normal. Everything is just, the longer I watch it, the more rhythm there's to it. I don't have any fear anymore because I got a different view of it. What if you wanted to go up to the top of the World Trade Center and you wanted to see the view? But you got to go in the elevator to get up there. Now, the elevator will get you up there in less than a minute. You'll go 100 floors in less than a minute. But in that minute you're in the elevator, what do you feel?
Oh, I feel nauseous. I'm terrified because I
Keep
don't know
going.
what's going to happen when I get up there.
What do you think's going to happen?
Well, I know I'm going to be okay, but I don't feel like I'm going to be okay. I feel like I'm going to get to the edge and fall off. Even if I'm standing in the middle of the floor, nowhere near the edge, I feel like I'm being pulled to the edge.
Yeah. And what would your mother or father have said to you?
Oh, don't worry about it. You'll be fine.
And did they lie to you a lot?
Oh, of course not. But I
So
still didn't
did you
trust them.
trust what they said when they said you're going to be okay?
Um, Not when it came to heights.
Everything but heights?
Just about, yeah.
Well, what about if you were on a low bridge?
See, if I don't see,
That goes
yeah,
3 feet above the water.
that doesn't bother me
What
because
about 4 feet?
I'm not going to fall that far.
What about 4 feet?
Probably okay with 4 feet.
5 feet?
No, because I probably would go under and not come back up.
Why
And
wouldn't you come back up?
those are just, that's that fear of certain levels. I probably can do
So,
it.
as a bright, talented, competent woman, you're letting fear of what? What is that that's going to happen? Buoyancy isn't going to work anymore?
Um, that's what I'm thinking,
So now
but I know,
science doesn't
but,
work
but,
anymore.
but I know better.
Fear works.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you can see how absurd it is.
Right.
I mean, that's the basis. Fear doesn't have any connection to logical thought or science or reality or whatever. A fear is about, I am out of control and I need to be in control. So the only way I can get control is not get in the elevator, not get in the car, not go over the bridge. So now I start avoiding everything that could make me angry.
Right.
Oh my God, can you imagine if we ever got a plague and you could die if you went outside? Imagine
Yeah.
how much anxiety you could put onto everything. Each leaf you touch, each doorknob you touch, whatever is a potential virus. Until you find out, well, no, not for this virus. That's not the way you die from it. You got to do this and this and this. So now you start to say, well, there's certain things outside that are safe and certain things that are not. You start to negotiate with yourself on how you can prepare yourself for waves of anxiety.
Okay.
What do you think the best way is? What's the best way to handle anxiety?
Well, how I did this years ago, and I've got to go back to doing it, I would not drive over any bridge. Okay. I mean, even the smallest bridge, I would drive 20 minutes out of my way to go around it. And somebody finally said to me, do it one time. Just do it one time and see yourself get over it. And so I stopped before I went over the bridge. I visualized myself driving over it and being safe. And I drove over it and I was safe. And I awarded myself, okay, by saying, hey, good girl. I patted myself on the back. And then I made myself turn around and go back over the bridge, going the opposite direction. And that worked for a long time. Recently, because I hadn't been driving for a while due to the pandemic and my knee injury, I had to go someplace last weekend and over a very high overpass. And I was sweating. I was screaming at myself in the car because I did not want to go over this overpass. Now I did it. But I felt terrible for about a half hour afterwards because I was shaking. I was so nervous. And it took me a couple of hours after that to realize, hey, you did it. But I don't want to feel that panicky every time I go over a
So
bridge.
your success came from envisioning a success,
Right.
preparing yourself successfully to be in control as a good parent is. They're in control of the child. They're in control of the child's anxiety. So you took control of your own child and you said to her, I'm in charge. I'm driving. We're going to be okay. Once you're in a car, being in a car doesn't change. It stays the same. You're still in the car.
Right.
You're protected all the way around by bumpers and steel and metal and bars and stuff. And all you have to do is follow the car in front of you. You don't have to deal with anything left, right, above, below. If your job was to go from A to B over a span and there was a car in front of you, all you had to do was follow that car. And there's your focus. Can you drive a car and follow the car in front of you?
Yes.
All the time. You do it every day.
Yeah.
That's all your focus is. So if you narrow your focus, I'm only going to look at that license plate. And I'm going to maintain the distance that's safe, like a normal going 50. I'm going to have four car spaces between me and him. And I'm going to keep that. That's what I'm going to monitor. I'm going to monitor how far or near I am to that car. So if the cars slow down, I slow down. If they speed up, I speed up, because that's the only thing in my mind is I'm going to maintain the distance between me and the car ahead of me. And that's how you control anxiety. You take it down to a manageable spot where you're in control and you're feeling safe. You're protected. You're in your car. Nothing else is going to go on. Just a micro focus on what's in front of you. It would be the same way as if you got in that elevator. You said, I don't know if I'm on the first floor, I don't know if I'm on the 60th floor. I don't know if I'm on the 100th floor. But once I get in this elevator, I'm going to trust that the people who built this elevator, and it's been working now for 50 years, it's going to work today. And I'm going to get in it. And when I get outside, I'm going to take one step, and then I'm going to start my control. Once I get out of the elevator, I'm now there. Now I'm going to go one step at a time. I'm going to take one step and say, how do I feel? I feel good. I'm going to take two steps. Boom, boom. Get a little closer. Now I'm going to actually get out into the room where the observatory. I'm going to go right in the center, far away from every window as I can. And I'm going to stay there feeling okay. And I'm not going to move until I feel good.
Makes a lot of sense. So it's taking one step at a time.
Because if you go too fast, you're going to get overwhelmed. But I'm still in control. I'm 10 feet away from the window. I'm still in control. I'm still in control. I'm still in control. You know what? When I get to the window, I'm going to hold on to the wall because I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe the wall's going to fall apart. Maybe the window's going to fall apart, and I'm just going to be sucked out. But I look around. Everybody else seems to be okay. In the environment I am, I'm not influenced by them. I'm bringing this by myself. Maybe I should let them influence me. Let me take a reading of the faces. Let me see what people are doing. There's a dad who's laughing and he's pointing out buildings. There's a woman that's looking up for planes. There's somebody else looking at a guidebook trying to pick out which building she's going to look at. People are doing normal things around me. I'm going to do normal things around me. What should I do? Well, maybe I want to see something. I won't look completely down. But that's not the purpose of an observation deck. An observation deck is you look out.
Right.
You look out. You see distance. You see far. So when I get there, I'm going to look out. You're breaking it down piece by piece by piece by piece. It may take you 5 times, 5 trips to get it. What about people who couldn't get on an airplane? You know what fear of flying programs do? They build an airplane and it's in the test facility. It's on the ground.
Okay.
But they make people walk from their check-in down a corridor, down a little bit thing, and now they open up the door and you walk in and you take your seat on the plane. And they wait to see when you start to get uncomfortable. Now, you know you're on the ground. Well, so is the airplane, the real one. When you get in the real one, it's on the ground.
Right.
It's no different than this one. So what am I afraid of?
Not having control once we get up in the air. I'm
okay, you want control? We'll bring you up and we'll let you fly the plane.
not. I don't know how to fly.
Well, you'll be,
Yeah.
You know? Oh, well, the guy in the front who's flying it, he does. So really, you're dependent on him. Now, if you say you got control issues, and if you can't give up control, then you're never going to be able to fly.
Right.
But if you really say, well, I can't do it, I got to trust that somebody else can do it. I got to trust that somebody built the elevator. I don't know how to build an elevator, but they're doing this. And I do the safety checks all the time, and they do stuff every day. So the certificate's on the wall here. It says people are doing their job. So I got to trust somebody. I got to trust that this elevator is going to work. I got to trust that this pilot who says, welcome, everybody. We're flying to Cleveland tonight. And I got to go see my little girl at 7:30. So the plane lands at 5. Oh, he wants to live. He wants to go home. So I'm putting my trust in the guy who knows what he's doing and he wants to live. So he's just like me. I'm going to trust him because this plane's not going to change. It looks like once they close the door, I'm still in the plane. Nothing about my environment's going to change. I'm going to hear different noises. If I want to look out the window, I can look out the window. Maybe that'll help. Something pretty out there. If I don't want, I'll close the window and read my book. So I'm sitting in a chair reading a book. I don't have to worry about flying because he's taking care of that. I can just read my book. So you see how you compartmentalize it
Right.
so that you are getting control every step of the way. Give me an example where you still feel, anxious.
Where I really feel anxious. Wow. So if I'm supposed to do a job, okay, and I'm prepared for the job, and I'm referring to like my weekend job that I do, and I go in and um, things are changed, okay,
Things what?
things get changed. Well, you're not going to do what you got prepared to do today. You're going to do something else. As long as I feel that's in my comfort zone, and typically it is, but if it's slightly out of my comfort zone, I feel like I can't breathe. You know, like what is wrong with me? Why can't I do this? Now
Mm-hmm.
I get through it each and every time, which is the interesting part. Somebody can, throw me a boomerang and I do,
Well,
I get it and I can throw it back, but I don't trust that I'm doing it right. And that
so
makes
the
me anxious.
kid is saying, I don't trust that I can handle this. This is above my level. And you got a critical parent voice in your head telling your kid, that's right, you can't
Right.
handle it.
Yep.
You're going to be exposed again. Boy, are you going to look stupid.
Yep.
So why do you listen to that voice?
Because I heard it for 66 years.
Yeah, well, tell it to go away.
Okay.
You got another voice up there that says, Karen, stop it. Look, you're running a TV show, you're running a network, and today you just got thrown a curve at the last minute. Your guest didn't show up, and you just handled it. You said, well, we'll ad lib and I'll be okay. And are you okay?
Oh, absolutely. Because
Because you said you were going to be okay.
exactly. And I see the difference now.
Yeah. And if you say, oh, you have no choice but go, oh. In other words, it's that quick. It's that quick. When what I would work with you on would be expanding your capability boundaries. Instead of saying I can only do stuff within this range, you say, no, I can do this. Actually, if I really look, I can do a lot of things. I can walk and talk at the same time. I can do this. I can do all this podcast. I can do all the technical stuff. I'm pretty capable. I can handle this kind of stuff. This is well within my purview. And once you do it, you say, okay, I'm good up to here now. And I'm going to work at getting to here. Then I'm going to work. Now I can handle anything they throw me. I mean, I had so much personal training in this kind of stuff as a therapist who had to give workshops to a couple hundred people, as an actor who had to get up on the stage, as a TV guy who had to get in front of the camera, as a model who had to hit the X and make the speech, et cetera, all the time being, quote, on. When the lights go on and you have to be ready. They in acting school, they teach you poise, confidence, projection, mannerism. They teach you all the self-awareness clues. If you bent over like this and you got your head down and you're trying to talk, you can't do it. But if you're back here and you stand up straight and you open up your chest and you get some air in there and you loosen up,
Right.
things feel natural, they work better. So you have a repertoire of things that you can go through to make yourself all right. After that, it's trial and error based on a whole life of experience of trying, failing, learning, succeeding, trying, learn, and the pattern goes on. But each time you succeed, you get another medal. You get another medal. Finally, you start to add them all up about all the things that your little child and you thought you couldn't do, you realize you can do. So your self-assessment and your self-esteem is really what controls anxiety. If your self-perception improves and you get a way to respect and like yourself and think of yourself in capable and competent ways, you'll act that way. And that's all you have to do. In the beginning, you have to act like you can do it until you see that you really did it. Now, the next time, it's not an act. It's a repetition of a success. So you don't re-experience the same anxiety. Once you get a hit off a new pitcher, he's not the same guy.
Right.
Once you pass a test in class and you think you're dumb and you're the dumbest one in the room and you got a B, hey, I'm okay. I belong here. So what it is you have to really scratch yourself to get to this shaky kid that's inside. Because if you give her the wheel of the car and you're in the back seat, you're in trouble. She should be in the back seat. We want the adult, nurturing parent at the wheel. So who's ever in control of you, we want the most competent person, and we generally call that an adult. But in life, adults, description purposes, adults don't have the emotions. They have the logical, sequential thing. What we really want is a parent. Parent is full of emotion, and they're also adults. So we're going to look for a nurturing, caring, smart, capable adult who knows the difference between a red light and a green light. Someone who knows ethics, someone who knows morals, someone who knows social things to do, social things not to. So we want somebody who can figure stuff out. And we want that person in charge of you when you come upon new situations. We want to say, I look forward to new because you know what? There's always a challenge. And challenge is good. That's how you grow. So if I haven't done this before, my response is, that's interesting. Let's see how we do. Rather than, I can't do it. And before you know it, you're going to be sweating, hyperventilating, and having a panic attack.
Well, and luckily, outwardly, I don't show it. It's inwardly, because typically I'm told almost every weekend, and this has been new since this job started. I'm supposed to go in and do training, and they don't want me to train. They want me to do all these other things for them. And because I'm there and so-called a guest in their business, I do what they ask me to do. And a lot of times it's things that I've never been trained on, but I do succeed. But at the end of the day, I look at myself and I say, the whole time I was doing it, I was a bundle of nerves, but I did it right. Like you said, I've learned something new. But why am I still feeling like I can't do it? Because I just did it. That's the anxiety that, really gets to me.
So you got a pretty tough kid inside.
Oh, I do. Yeah.
That kid's not going to give up fear too easy.
I was taught you can never be wrong. And the reality of it is, if we're not wrong, how are we going to learn?
Absolutely. So it's not only that, it's you get exposed when you're wrong because this incompetent self gets exposed.
Right.
And as long as you hold on to the purview that you're incompetent, it will happen. Because you're the one that's keeping that nervousness alive.
Okay.
And guess who's the only person who can get rid of that voice?
Me.
And so when that shaky child starts to have fears, I can't, and I can't, and blah, 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 you have to be able to say, knock it off. Nerves isn't going to get you through. Your mental abilities are. Your competence is going to get you through. You got to focus on what the task is, not focus on the anxiety. Focus on a license plate in front of you. Focus on holding the wheel correctly. That will help you. That will keep the anxiety under control. And then when at the end of the experience, you say, I did it. No big deal. I didn't even know I was on the bridge. After a while, I didn't even realize I was on the bridge anymore. I didn't even realize I was speaking to that group because you know what? I was focused on what I was saying. I wasn't focused on the people in the room. My coach that I had for acting, he said, there's three things you do when you speak to a crowd. You look left and pick out a set of eyes that are looking at you openly and warmly. Focus on that. Look straight ahead, pick out a set of eyes that are looking at you there, look at them when you talk, and then pick somebody on the right. Try to pick people in the middle. Because the audience will see you looking. They'll think you're looking at them when you're giving your speech. You're making contact.
Right.
It works. And it will reduce the size of the crowd because you're now only talking to three people. You got the guy over there, and you got the girl with the pretty hat, and then you have the old lady that's smiling at you. So you pick them out. That controls your environment. Now you can speak to 20 people. I look at it number 2, number 11, and number 15. And as you go by, you see everybody, they see you. If you know what you're going to talk about, that helps.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
If you know the subject matter, if you're prepared, if you have an idea that even if you skip something, you could say, let me go back to this, what I was trying to say, and you just repeat and you finally, if you lost your chain, you go back to where you were and then you'll reconnect. There are techniques that you can do. You can go back to it's called rehitching. You rehitch
Right.
your ride and then you go all the way through. I was just reminded of Friday night. I was at the wedding and everybody, we just had the daddy-daughter dance and everything, and the MC is this big, loud guy, and blah, blah, blah. And we hadn't really had any preparation as to what was going to follow what. He said, well, it's now the toast time. And he looks over at me and he says, okay, we got the father and the bride. Everybody would like to introduce you to Ken Ludmer. Boom. And before you know it, he gave me the mic. And I got up and I smiled and I thanked everybody for being there because I know you got to thank the crowd. Next thing on my agenda in my head was to thank the groom's parents for bringing the groom into the world. I said, well, you got to have some humor, so I got to tell some story about him when I first met him, and I just went on and went through my litany and went through and then talked about Hale and went through the thing. Must have talked 5, 6, 7 minutes before, and halfway through I said, I will get to the toast, and everybody, And so finally at the end, we're going to toast these two people. I sat down. They introduced the best man. Now the best man is the groom's brother. And he's fumbling. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 papers that he's going to read from. You see his hands are going like this. He's not contacting the audience. He's doing it. And the poor guy is getting more and more befuddled. And the papers were out of order, and I mean, normal, He was relying on the papers to make the speech, and not him. And so he got through it. I mean, he did it. He did a better job, and he finally relaxed and started to make fun of himself, and that helped get through the whole thing. So now later on, I'm at the hors d'oeuvre place, and he comes up to me and he says, "How the hell did you do that?" He said, "You just winged it." He said, "You just went up there." He said, "You were calm, you were comfortable, you were funny, you were present." He said, "You got to teach me how to do that." And it's what I'm doing right now. It's how do you control anxiety? Because he didn't prepare to make a speech. He prepared to read a speech.
Right.
And once it was out of order, hama. You don't have a backup plan. But if he would have prepared to make a speech, and instead of having 2,000 words, if he had 20 words, this means this paragraph, this means this paragraph. Now just do your words and you know what you want to say in that paragraph. Tell a story about when you were in Cleveland. So he's going to tell the Cleveland story. Then he's going to tell the story of his parents. Then you help yourself because you put it into manageable bites where you are in control. And now the outside things that could go wrong are less because you only got one piece of paper with 10 words on it. You see the difference, how its preparation sets up whether you're going to succeed or whether you're going to fail?
Absolutely.
And that's what overcoming anxiety is all about. It's how you conceptualize it. In the psychology world, they call it the gestalt. It's the field perception of what is around you, including everything all your senses take in, your eyes, etc. It comes to a focal point. That point in you has to be competent. If it's not, it hit the wrong spot. If it hit the kid, oh, the first response is going to be, I can't, I'm a child. What do you expect of me? This is above my level. But not if you're a nurturing parent. If you're a nurturing parent, you're in charge. You have responsibility. Your job is to keep this kid calm and comfortable during the speech, or during the test, or during the ride, or during whatever it is. Now, a lot of people have the fear of heights. I mean, it's a pretty common fear. So, I mean,
Right.
even if you had that, Henny Youngman would say, "You're afraid of heights? Don't go to high places."
Yeah.
I'm afraid of elephants, Henny. All right, well, how many elephants you seen on Park Avenue today? You don't run into them every day. You don't have to worry about that. If you
So,
have fears of things that are far away and not in your life, it's much easier than if you have the fear of the doorknob. So if I open that doorknob, I go out into the world, and boy, how many bad things can happen to me out there. So close the door. I'm not going out. You see how many anxiety patients have become shut-ins.
right.
Same reason. Same reason. I treated an agoraphobic man at one point who was 30 years old and could not leave his house. His mother called up, said, "You got to treat this guy." I said, "Well, I can have an appointment at 2:00. No. He doesn't leave the house. Okay, so you want me to come to the house? Okay. Can't bring Muhammad to the hill. You bring the hill to Muhammad. So I went in the house and got his permission to say, if you're going to engage with me, it means I'm going to help you.
Right.
So if I'm helping you, I'm in charge. Everything we do is according to me. You're not in charge anymore. If you were in charge, you could be able to go outside, but you can't. So you're going to have to trust me, and we're going to go outside, and I'm going to make outside safe for you. Okay. So the first thing we did is we stood by the door and opened it. We didn't go out. I asked him to describe everything he saw. And then we got a view. And I said, I wonder what's 5 feet each way. Tell me what's 5 feet each way. So we took a step out till he could tell me what was 5 feet. Then we took another step out. Finally, we got outside, stood on the top step, and looked around. See anything dangerous? Think it's any more dangerous than when you're inside as when you're here? No, no difference. You think it'll be any difference if you take another step? No. So we would take steps, and I said, okay, we're going to take steps. And you tell me when you're uncomfortable. We got just to that far, and he said, uh-oh, I'm a little too far from the house. Okay, let's go back. We marked the spot. Go back into the house. Next session, okay, our starting point is where you were last time. Let's see if we can go there. Let's start from there. So now he wasn't even thinking about opening the door, going down the step. Now we went, our start point was there. And I said, anything dangerous? This is silly, Ken. There's nothing dangerous here. Oh, but in the house, you didn't say that. Now we went around the block. And the next week we went around the block and one up. Before you know it, we were walking through the town. The session would be a walk through the town. Next thing I said, now you're going to get in my car. We're going to go around the block in the car. Should we go another block? Yeah, it's nice being out, you know. And before you know it, finally I got him to drive his mother's car.
Wow.
Within 2 months, he was no longer agoraphobic. He could go anywhere. Got himself a job, started to get a life, started to do it. Moved out of his mother's house, had an apartment. I would pick a place to meet him for lunch for our therapy session, local in town. Then I made him go to the next town, then the next town. Before you know it, we could go any town in the county. He still was scared of bigger things, but mastery and control of his environment at every step in the way, he started to say, there's no danger here, I'm okay. And that's how you overcome anxiety. You keep doing a check on, I'm okay, I'm in control.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I have somewhere to go this afternoon, and I have 2 routes that I can take. And one is over a bridge, which normally I wouldn't take. But what I've heard today is I have the control. And I always thought going the other direction was my control. But I think today I should just go across the bridge and gain the control that I can do it.
Try it.
Other bridges, this one happens to be a little longer, steeper.
Yeah, feel comfortable in your car, driving your car before you go on the bridge, and then you're going to pick out a car and follow it. And if somebody else comes in, then that's your new car. That'll be your new car. You follow the new car. You're ready to adapt. In case this guy goes too fast, you'll wait for somebody else to come. The idea is you're part of a chain. You're not all there by yourself and out of control. You're in your car and you're in control of your car.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. It's the first time I can say I'm looking forward to driving over a bridge.
because you're going to challenge yourself. What you just said is, I can do it. I'm going to challenge myself. I'm looking forward to it. Well, you see confidence in that statement.
And nobody's ever given me a visual before. The visual is what's going to happen when you get to the other side. And so that's where the hyperventilating has come in. Oh, I got to get to the other side.
Yeah, the unknown is too big a concept. Anything can happen in the unknown for nervous people, non-nervous people. But you can't live that way. And we all know, well, you got to go out. A lot of things, plane can fall from the sky, but chances are it's not going to fall today, It's just like, The alcoholics take it one day at a time, one thing that they can control, one day at a time. They don't have to think about the rest of their life. They just got to get through this morning, this afternoon, this evening, go to bed. All I have to do is get through this morning, this afternoon, and builds up confidence, builds up your ability, because you're putting it into manageable pieces that you can do. And you do that because you think you can do it.
Well, I hope others that are listening will challenge themselves as well and will contact us here at newclevelandradio@gmail.com so you can talk
My
to.
one word of caution is do things at your own pace. Do them slowly.
Okay.
Take your next step when you're ready for your next step. Repetition builds confidence. And don't try to do too much too fast, you'll overwhelm. The idea is maintain a social control all the time. It leads to psychological control. It leads to better self-esteem. It leads to a healthier ego.
Well, I want to thank you very much. I will email you later today and
Okay.
explain to you how I felt going over.
We have cured the world of anxiety today.
Absolutely. Have
All
a
right. See you
great day,
next
everybody.
2
Talk
weeks.
to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.